Welcome. I have a sensory meditation for you today. We'll be exploring some, though not all, of the five senses that you use to relate to the world around you. And we'll also be exploring internally focused senses, so your ability to feel what's happening in your body. As we do this meditation, you might notice that you connect better to some senses than others, and that you feel calmer as you connect to some senses, and maybe less calm or less focused as you connect to others. So, this is really important awareness for you to have because it provides important guidance for how you might use your senses as you do meditation to best support your process and your experience. If you're new to this kind of meditation, I recommend finding yourself a space that feels calming and pleasant. So if you are in a room that is cluttered, or you look around and you see things you have to do, that might increase your stress level. As you get more experienced with using your senses in meditation, it's valuable to work absolutely everywhere in all different kinds of contexts. But if you're newer to this, let's make it easy. So find an indoor or outdoor space that's pleasant if you can. And then I prefer to be seated either on a chair or on the floor for this type of meditation. But if your body would feel better if you stood up or lay down, feel free to do that. And take a few minutes here to get comfortable. If you need to pause the recording in order to do that, go ahead and pause it and then start it again when you're ready. So we'll begin by attending to any stronger sensations in your body. If you have pain or intense discomfort and there's something that you can do that would relieve that, please go ahead and do that. Even if it's a change in position here, something that looks a little less conventional is totally fine. And then we'll start with your eyes open. Bring your eyes to a single point that you can focus on ahead of you and slightly down. So you might look at the floor a few feet ahead of you, or something low down in the wall in front of you. If you're in an outdoor space, you're maybe looking at the ground a little bit ahead of where you're sitting or standing. And just let your eyes softly focus on that point. Now, your thinking brain might have lots of thoughts, questions, labels, information that comes up with regards to what you're looking at. So you can just observe that if it's happening. And also see if you can really take in the sensory information. What you're seeing is separate from that lens of the mind through which you see it. So just taking in the details of shape, color, light, contrast. And when you're ready, we'll let your eyes move around the space that you're in. And allow your eyes to come to rest on 5 different objects. For each one, take a few breaths to really observe it, just like we did with that initial point. And again, you may notice your mind has labels and information about what you're seeing. But see if you can drop into really using the visual sense to observe all of the detail of what you're seeing. The number 5 is not super important. The idea is simply to use your visual sense to really observe the world that you're in. And to start to notice that the chatter of the mind is different than what you are observing with your eyes. So the eyes are really taking in purely sensory information. If you're willing, you might close your eyes now, or you might bring your eyes down to that original point that you were looking at to start out with. And with the eyes closed or focused, now see what gets your attention. Is it stuff in the external world through your other senses? Is it internal information? And then tune in to your sense of hearing. So you're hearing my voice, perhaps. But what else are you hearing in your immediate space and in the space around you? Really tune into your auditory sense, noticing the sounds that are in the area. And as you notice those sounds, you may notice you have a response to the sounds. See if you can keep refocusing your attention on the quality of those sounds, just noticing what the world around you sounds like right now. You may notice again that you label and make sense of the sounds. That's normal human brain stuff. But can you also just purely drop into the experience of hearing? And then bring your awareness to your hands. So for the hands, you could bring your fingertips to touch on the same hand or the opposite hand. You could touch your clothing or another part of your body. If you have a chair or a blanket or a cushion around you or under you, you could bring your hands to feel those surfaces and just really drop into the experience of texture and sensory information in the fingertips or in the palms of the hands. Really allowing your attention to be focused on sensation in the fingers and hands. Again, you may notice that you have an interpretation, you have a name for the textures that you feel, you know what it is that you're feeling. But also, there's a way if we really drop into the sense of touch that you're able to distinguish maybe very subtle differences in the textures of the materials that you are touching. So, see if you also can get really into the immediate experience of your sense of touch. Then let that go, let your hands rest. And see if you can zoom out your attention a little bit. So now you're feeling your whole body at once. And see if you have a sense of the outlines of your body in space. Where does your body end and the world begin? As you scan through your body, perhaps starting at the head and then moving down to the feet. Do you have a felt sense of the space that your body takes up? A kind of internal map of your own body in space. And as you do this, you may find there are areas you are more or less aware of. And different brains will make sense of this in different ways. So don't worry about doing it right. Just see what happens as you drop into the experience of your own body in space. And then when you're ready, bring your attention to your own breathing and see if you can just let your breath happen. There's no need to breathe in a particular way. Notice where it's easiest for you to feel the breath happening. So it might be breath sensation up the tip of your nostrils where the breath is coming in and out. You might feel temperature and air movement there. Or it may be that it's easier for you to feel the rise and fall of your chest or your abdomen or movement of your back against whatever you're leaning on or lying on. It's not super important where you choose to try to tune into the breath. Just pick one area. And then see if you can just watch your breath moving in and out of your body. And just like all of the other senses, there may be mental analysis and interpretation. See if you can just watch that come and go. And then keep redirecting your attention to feeling your breath in your body. Moving towards the pure experience of breath movement without needing to make it perfect or to achieve anything, right? Just watching your own process. What happens for you as you try to come towards an experience of the breath? It's normal for the mind to wander. Come back to the breath whenever you notice, right? This is the process of meditation, is the noticing and the returning with kindness and patience and curiosity. Oh, look what happened. What if I come back to my breath? If you found that one of these practices, sensory practices, really resonated for you, and you have a little more time, you might choose to come back to that practice for a few more minutes and just explore it more in depth. When you feel complete with your meditation practice, bring your attention out, like you're zooming out again. So, from whatever you're focused on, letting in more awareness of your whole self, your whole body, your whole mind. the context of the room or the outdoor space that you're in. Any other living beings that are sharing that space with you. Notice if things shift as you start to bring your awareness into a larger space, right? A larger context. And then take your time to return to the rest of your day. If you have questions or want to share experiences, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Take really good care. Thank you.